Over the past 31 years, I've had the joy of traveling repeatedly to many corners of this vast subcontinent that is India. It is amazing to see how landscapes, culture, food, music, dances, and even languages change every few hundred kilometers that you drive. You see the highest mountains of the world, great seas, bountiful rivers, and best of all, a people whose thoughts and heritage go back a few thousand years. Join us on an enthralling journey. I am traveling again across the whole of India to bring you spectacular India. The lands just beyond the Himalayas are a vast and cold desert. The region is surrounded by some of the tallest mountains of the world and is very thinly populated. This high and arid land consists of Ladakh, Lahaul Spiti and Kinnaur on the Indian side and of Tibet. We are at Zojila Pass at 11,400 feet altitude. It is through here that Buddhism and Buddhist culture spread from Kashmir twice to Ladakh, Lahaul Spiti, Kinnaur and to Tibet. The first great diffusion of Buddhism to these areas was in the 8th century when the great Guru Padmasambhava spread Buddhism. The second great diffusion of Buddhism in the Trans-Himalayas was when Rinchen Zangpo from Tibet came to Kashmir to bring back the true knowledge of Buddhism.
In the 8th century, Shanta Rakshata from Nalanda University brought Buddhism to Tibet. However, he found that the people continued to live in fear of evil spirits and would not easily take to the new faith. In 747 AD, Shantarakshata requested the king to invite Guru Padmasambhava, also of the Nalanda University, to Tibet to help to spread the Buddhist faith. The dramatic story of Padmasambhava's conversion of the people of these lands to Buddhism is one of the great epics of the world. The Guru swept across the mountains, performing the cham, or the monastic dance of the lamas. He purified the land and made it ready for Buddhism. From 836 to 842 AD came a dark period in the history of Buddhism in Tibet. King Langdharma opposed the new religion and persecuted Buddhists. Buddhist scriptures were burnt, monks killed, and temples were razed to the ground.
We are divided this Tibetan into two phases. It has a reason behind this is when the Langdharma has destroyed Buddhism. Destroyed means virtually he has destroyed monasteries and the monks. So in between it is said on the basis of the narratives given by one of the ladies that almost 70 or 75 years, she says at the time she was of the 75 years, she says, I have never ever seen a single monk or nun. So therefore he presumes probably over 80 or the 90 years now there was no Buddhism at all in Tibet. So this is the gap in which Buddhism was not prevalent.
When King Yeshe O came to the throne of Guge in 947 AD, his kingdom consisted of the present Indian territories of Ladakh, Lahaul Spiti and Kinnaur, and Guge and Purang in western Tibet. By then, Buddhism had declined in the Trans-Himalayas. What troubled the king most was that even the little practice of the religion, which continued, was decadent and full of magical practices. Around 975 AD, the king sent 21 young scholars to Kashmir, which was then one of the greatest centers of Buddhism. Their mission was to learn about the faith and to bring back knowledge and scriptures. These young men set out full of zeal, but the journey was long and difficult. 19 of them died in the travel to and from Kashmir. Two scholars survived the journey to Kashmir and came back after 17 years. One of these two was Rinchen Zangpo. He was to become famous for all time to come as Lotsava, the great translator. He translated the Sanskrit texts which he had brought from Kashmir into Tibetan. Rinchen Zangpo also supervised the construction of many monasteries and temples. These became exquisite jewels of the faith, set in the midst of the vast spaces of the Trans-Himalayan desert.
हम लोत्सावा रिंचेन ज़ांगपो को बहुत बहुत नमस्कार करते हैं, छक्साल बोलते हैं और जुले बोलते हैं। लोत्सावा रिंचेन ज़ांगपो जिसने हमारे लद्दाख को बनाया, लद्दाख के कल्चर को, आर्ट को शुरू की।
The second great diffusion of Buddhism in the Trans-Himalayas, which was begun by King Yeshe O and Rinchen Zangpo, was a dawn of faith on the roof of the world. The light of knowledge which they brought was to continue forever in these vast regions.
One
108 monasteries are believed to have been constructed in this period in the kingdom of Guge in western Tibet, Ladakh, Lahaul Spiti and Kinnaur. The people believe that the monasteries of Rinchen Zangpo were created miraculously in one night. Villagers awoke in the morning and discovered a beautiful temple there. Truly, the making of these temples in a short time and across vast distances must have appeared to be a miracle. Rinchen Zangpo has been transformed in the minds of the people from a historical figure to a supernatural being who performed miracles.
आलची पहुँच के वो वहाँ का जो पानी देखता है तो वो बोलता है यहाँ कुछ गाँव ज़रूर बसाएंगे। तो मेरा उम्मीद है कि ये मैं सफ़ेद डंडे को, जो सूखा हुआ डंडा है, उसको वहाँ पर लगा देते हैं। अगर इस जगह पे कोई गोंपा बनाना हो या बनना हो तो मेरे वापस आने तक इस डंडे को पत्ते निकाल आएंगे। ऐसा उसने पूजा करके उस डंडे को ज़मीन में गाड़ दिया और उसके बाद वो मांगड्यू चले गए। जब वो आलची वापस आते हैं तो इसने जो डंडा, सफ़ेद डंडा और सूखा डंडा उसने ज़मीन में गाड़ा था तो उसको पत्ता निकल आए थे। तो लोत्सावा जी ने ये सोचा कि हाँ, ये तो वाकई बहुत ही नेक शगुन होगा, तो यहाँ भी हम एक गोंपा बनाएंगे। तो लोत्सावा जी का एक खासियत ये थे कि उसकी आँख बहुत ही तेज़ था और उसमें कुछ थे, कुछ हमसे अलग थे। तो उसका जो आँख का पलक है जो वो नीचे से ऊपर दबाते थे। जिस तरह गांधी जी बहुत तेज़ चलते थे, उसी तरह लोत्सावा जी भी बहुत तेज़ चलते थे, जिससे हम कंग्योक्स बोलते हैं। उसका मतलब ये है कि हम एक दिन में पहुंचते हैं तो लोत्सावा जी 1 घंटे में वहाँ पहुंच जाते थे, उससे हम कंग्योक्स बोलते हैं। तो हमारे बुज़ुर्ग ये बोलते हैं कि आलची, मांग्यू और सुमदा तीनों को एक ही दिन में उनमें पूजा की थी। तो सुमदा वाले कहते हैं हमको भी दर्शन हुए, आलची वाले कहते हैं नहीं वहाँ नहीं हो सकते, वहाँ तो लोत्सावा तो हमारे यहाँ थे। तो जब लोगों ने आपस में बातें करना शुरू किया तो लोत्सावा रिंचेन ज़ांगपो जो कंग्योक्स थे उसमें वो हम तो जादू तो नहीं बोलेंगे, आप वो तो रिलीजियस का एक क्या बोलते स्पिरिचुअल ताकत उसमें थे। तो वो ताकत यूज़ करके वो तीनों जगह पहुंच गए।
King Yeshao and the subsequent kings who patronized the making of these monasteries invited artists from Kashmir. These masters from Kashmir supervised the building of the monasteries and made the beautiful paintings and sculptures inside them. The painters and sculptors from Kashmir brought with them a highly sophisticated form of art, which was deeply rooted in the classic Indian traditions. The masters from Kashmir would have also trained local artists who spread the knowledge and artistic styles.
We are at the Alchi temple complex, about 74 kilometers west of Leh. This is one of the original 108 monasteries which were founded under the supervision of Rinchen Zangpo in the 10th and 11th centuries. We are in front of the Sumstek or three-storied temple of Alchi. This has inside it some of the most beautiful paintings of mankind. These were made by Kashmiri artists who were invited for the purpose. In fact, the wood carving of the temple was also done by the Kashmiri artists, and this is very typically in the style of Kashmir in that period.
Since ancient times, the hallmark of the finest Indian art was the deep and inward look on the faces of the figures. The art of these monasteries continues this sublime tradition. What makes the paintings and sculptures here unique is a lilting grace which awakens a sense of joy within us. The art of these early trans-Himalayan monasteries takes us far from the noise and clamor of the material world. Mythical creatures with riders trampling upon fierce animals are a constant motif in medieval Indian art. They represent the courage within us, with which we must face the demons of our ignorance and confusion. While deities present the sublime message of the peace to be found within us, the Kashmiri artist never forgets the joy of worship. The purpose of this art is to elevate us to a world permeated with the joy of divinity.
We are in the remote village of Mangyu, about 23 kilometers west of Alchi. Today it was easy to get here because in 2006 a motorable road was made reaching this village. Before that, one had to walk 14 kilometers uphill along a mountain stream to reach here. This monastery has many beautiful paintings and sculptures inside, which are closely similar to those at Alchi. In fact, it seems that the same artists could have made those at Alchi and those here. The monastery of Mangyu is another one of the original 108 monasteries which were made in the time of Rinchen Zangpo. This monastery has a large stupa inside which are made exquisite paintings and sculptures. The three monasteries of Alchi, Mangyu and Sumda are most beloved to the people of Ladakh. It was also believed that if in the course of one day a person could visit all three monasteries, he would get instant nirvana. Now this did not used to be possible. I remember the last time when I came to Sumda, it was 35 kilometers of steep uphill walking. Now that has changed. You see the road behind me, this heads towards Sumda and takes one within 3 kilometers of the monastery. Mangyu also has a road which goes right up to the village. I wonder if nirvana would still be possible if one took a motor car and went to all three places in one day. This is Mr. Tashi Tundup. He is a resident of Thikse, which is right next to the ancient site of Nyarma. Nyarma is the oldest monastic site of Ladakh. There is an inscription in the Alchi monastery, the famous Alchi monastery, of one Kalden Sherap. Kalden Sherap was the founder of Alchi, and he says that he had already studied at Nyarma.
ये तो मेरा जन्म स्थान भी है और मैं तो ये बाप दादा के ज़माने में यहाँ पे हूँ। ये जगह तो बहुत पवित्र स्थान है। ये जगह तो बहुत टाइम में यहाँ आ चुका हूँ। यहाँ कुछ ये नानरी भी है बना हुआ है। तो ये एक तो खासकर ये लोत्सावा रिंचन ज़ांगपो का ये यहाँ पे बना हुआ जो के पीछे देख रहे हैं ये न्यारमा, तो ये बहुत पुराना स्थान है।
It's quite wonderful to see how even ruined sites like Nyarma have treasures of art hidden within them. When I came here for the first time 5 years ago, this broken-looking chortan had a small little entrance near the ground. In fact, I remember I had to lie down on my tummy and somehow wriggle inside this chortan. And inside were beautiful paintings of around the 13th century. Inside this chortan are such beautiful bodhisattvas painted with hands of devotion.
Despite the crumbling condition today, the remains of temples and stupas evoke a sense of the original grandeur and scale of this magnificent site.
The Tabo Choskhor or temple complex in Spiti in Himachal Pradesh is among the 3 oldest monasteries which were built by Rinchen Zangpo. The other 2 are Nyarma in Ladakh and Tholing Monastery in Tibet. What a time it must have been when the king Yeshe O and Rinchen Zangpo were filled with zeal to spread the Indian philosophy which Rinchen Zangpo had brought from Kashmir. A philosophy which saw the material world around us as Maya, an illusion. The purpose was always to lift the veils of that illusion, to be able to see the eternal truth beyond, the truth of the oneness of all that there is. The exquisite clay sculptures and paintings upon the walls of this Dukhang were made by Kashmiri artists and perhaps by others who were trained by them. They display that same exquisite quality of art which we have seen in the monasteries of Ladakh of that period.
This deity Vajralasya expresses the quality of grace which is at the heart of all that there is in the world. The art strips away the veils of illusion of the material world to present this inherent beauty. As we look upon and perceive the gentle graciousness of the deities, we awaken that same within us.
पर 1000 साल पुराना है.
ये तो 1000 साल पुराना है.
जी जी जी. This is a segment from the one of the original doorways of the Tabo Choskhor temple complex. This exquisite wooden sculpture is in the typical style of Kashmir of that period. The Bodhisattva made out here, the way that his pectoral muscles are made, the triple pointed crown, these are typical of the art of Kashmir, and these are to be found in the doorways of all the temples which were made at that time.
The Lalung temple is on a high hill not very far from Tabo. It is also of the period of the second diffusion of Buddhism. Coming into the temple, one is surrounded by the beauty and blessings of the deities. One has left the mundane world behind to enter the realm of grace.
The Lama Yuru monastery is made at a spectacular location with windswept, craggy mountains all around. It is about 127 kilometers west of Leh. This is one of the oldest monasteries in Ladakh. It has one room, a Verochana Lakhang, which belongs to the 11th century, the period of Rinchen Zangpo.
King Yeshao and the great translator Rinchen Zangpo wished to re-establish the Buddhist faith in the Trans-Himalayas. They also wanted to ensure that it was true knowledge that would form the basis of this renaissance. In Buddhism, the cult of Verochana was then prominent across India, especially in Kashmir. Rinchen Zangpo had studied scriptures related to Verochana during the time he spent in Kashmir.
We are in the Verochana Lakhang, the temple to Verochana in the Lamayuru monastery. These beautiful clay sculptures here were made in the 10th and 11th century by Kashmiri artists. It is shrines to Verochana which are made in all the temples which were founded in the time of Rinchen Zangpo.
Even today, Rinchen Zangpo plays a very great role in the spiritual area, spiritual field of Himalayan Buddhism. First reason being the re-embodiment of the Rinchen Zangpo still continues. President Rinchen Zangpo, Lochen Kelsang Tuku, Tenzin Kelsang Tuku, which we call him, he is from the Shalkar village, which is in Kinnaur district.
These temples, you can find many different statues and wall paintings still remaining. The experts, they say these are the Kashmiri style, similar to maybe many temples that you may find in Kashmir. Rinchen Zangpo, he studied in Kashmir actually. There was Buddhism in Kashmir, and maybe great universities were there and great scholars were there. So he mainly studied Buddhism and Sanskrit in Kashmir. So when he built those temples, he brought artists from Kashmir.
The experience of joy lies at the heart of the Buddhism which came to the Trans-Himalayas during the second diffusion. The concept of yoga stresses the oneness of everything in creation. This art, permeated with a sublime sense of grace, brings the worshipper closer to that ecstatic realization.
Yulul chungi puna karive kalarbo cholos kori puna karive kalarbo butsangariya laba kariya sankalarbo ju abe tundubi pelele Kariya Sankar Boriju.